so as you just saw, I'm already starting this video off with some weird stuff that's growing over here in the land of the lost, which is literally what I'm calling all this over here, because there's just crazy stuff growing over here, which we'll get into in this coast to coast video when we get to me. If this is the first time you've seen this video, y'all sit back. We've got gardeners and YouTubers from coast to coast, literally. Guarantee there's somebody in your zone that you'll be able to watch and learn about what's going on in your specific zone for each month of the year. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee, y'all. Let's get on this ride. Okay, so starting the video out, let's talk about oh man. Sweet potato vines are just getting destroyed over here. Thinking it might be time to harvest those sweet potatoes, but all right, squirreled as usual. Okay, so let's talk about a couple things real quick. Brian from Next Level Gardening and Dale and Chuck from Old Southern Kitchen and Garden, OSKG, are both not going to be in this month's video. Y'all scheduling work and all that just got in the way. And plus, to be honest, I completely forgot to send out the reminder to everyone to get their clips in because the month got away from me also. So they will not be joining us, but they will be back next month, hopefully for the 1-year anniversary of the Coast to Coast video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and start this right off in the middle of the country with the Croc Gardener up there in zone 6B. And he has a special guest who's joining him. Doug, take it away, brother.
Welcome, guys.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Central Illinois, Zone 6B. We're glad to have you guys over here. The month of August and September has been a very, very dry month for us. We've been having some drought-like conditions over here, but we're getting some reprieve this week. We're going to get some rain. Matter of fact, here on Wednesday, we're supposed to get an inch of rain, which is going to be fabulous. Should help us out with a lot of our crops. We've been having to do a lot of watering here. But that's not been solving us from doing any type of harvesting of some of the banner crops that we got in our garden.
We've been harvesting tomatoes, potatoes,
peppers, green beans, and we're going to slowly get some okra here pretty soon. These are the okra plants that Chad had given us. Soon we're going to be harvesting some sweet potatoes. We'll have some cucumbers. We got some sweet sugar snap peas in the ground, so those will probably be around in October. So the fall gardens are in full swing. We got our broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts we're going to be transplanting in the garden this week. Hopefully we get those guys in time for the first frost. That way we're getting a harvest off of those guys. We still do have over a month left to go, so we should be getting a harvest. Those are some frost hardy plants, so we should be okay with that for a little while as well. This year we will be doing another winter gardening series. We'll be coming out here in the snow again and gardening in the snow. That'll be fantastic, won't it? So we still have carrots and turnips that are going to be planted. We just planted our sugar snap peas. They're going to be popping up. Next time we talk to you guys, we'll be closing out a lot of the garden down. We're still going to have some things open, like I said, for the winter garden. So we'll go over those chores as well with you. Thanks again for having us, Chad. I want to give a shout out to everybody that's on this video. I appreciate all you Coast to Coasters. Cheers, everybody, and God bless.
Cheers.
All right, so Kid Croc joined the video. I was always excited to see when the youngsters get involved in gardening, and especially Kid Croc, who is always joining in on the challenges. So it's great to see you, young man. Keep it up. I know I'm speaking on behalf of everyone, but I know we're all excited to have seen you in this video. Okay, now Doug, right off the bat, your scenery is gorgeous. Like that big open field behind you is way better than what I've got. That is for sure. And I couldn't help but wonder, do you obviously live out on a farm? I don't think you and I have actually talked about that, but you've got a lot of land there. I'm jealous. And to be serious here, I'm really glad that those okra seeds that I sent you are growing. I grew them here in zone 9B, so sending them up north, I was curious on whether or not they grow well up there, and I'm glad to see that they are growing well for sure. Now, your okra is definitely behind where mine is, but it's also not as hot up there as it is down here, so totally makes sense. Also, I'm excited to see and to watch your gardening in the snow series. I think that's really cool. It's a great idea, and again, it's going to show people in your zone what they can be doing even when it's snowing. So hey, perfect, awesome. I can't wait to watch that. All right, y'all, so Doug's got a lot going on there. Let's jump up to Cape Cod, check in with Rick, see what's going on up there with him. So Rick, take it away.
Thanks, Chad. Folks, my name is Rick, and welcome to my Cape Cod life. It's September, and this is my 7A garden. Let's have a look around. But first, go let the girls out. Come on, chickens, let's get ready. Before we get going, I'm just gonna grab those eggs. So we're definitely in a transition of going from summer to fall. I still have a few summer crops hanging out, and I've been getting ready with my fall crops. So let's see what we got. I have okra still blooming and producing fruit, but it's going very, very slowly. This is one of the tomatoes. It is a chocolate cherry that I planted later in the season. It still has plenty of trusses. So these are doing well. This bed has broccoli on the left and kale on the right. And that should be ready sometime in October, I'm hoping. Some lettuce planted. This will be for heads, although I could do cut and come again. Still waiting for these Tabascos to ripen, and I think they will. These are my Cylindra beets. They're a long beet. Let's see if we can look down in here. There's some, you see how they're long. This tomato was given to my roommate. Guessing it's a cherry tomato. I got some little tomatoes over there. We'll see what happens. This is looking like one of my last cucumbers. This is a silver slicer. They did fantastic for me this year. These little sprouts are radishes. I planted those about 5 days ago. These are French breakfast. In front of those, I'm not seeing any up yet. Maybe one coming up right over here. These here are the white icicles. Over here I planted a couple of different types of spinach. I'm not seeing anything yet. So under these kales I have planted, and I may be seeing some stuff coming up down in there. All sorts of Asian greens. I have a green bok choy, I have the white rib bok choy, and Chinese broccoli. I have some little lettuces in this bed. I'm gonna go plant those in the green stuff, which I really have to address. September, it's transitioning. We still have warm weather ahead of us. I don't get a frost until about, I think the average is October 16th. But it's getting cooler. We're having days in the 70s. It's going into the 50s at night. So there's a lot of cleanup. There's weeds that I really need to take care of that I haven't for a couple of months. We always start our segments with our growing zones. And let's just talk about that for a quick second, because growing zones are really more directed to perennials. So my asparagus, my strawberries, my blueberry bushes, that's what really relies on the zones. But the zone does give you an idea of what to expect. So that's why we always start all of our different segments with what zone we're in. It's just a little point of information there. So that's it here from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I'm going to send you back to Chad. Take it away, buddy.
All right, Rick, you have a lot going on up there in your area, and I think you made a couple of really good points. One, this is the transition time for fall, where I would venture to say most of the country is transitioning from summer into fall, and you hit that point. Awesome. I wanted to mention one thing. You're growing kale. That is one thing, one crop I cannot grow here. Now, let me change that. I can actually grow it, but it brings in so many pests that I just stopped growing kale. So I'm glad to see that you're able to grow the kale up there. And then you've also got okra growing. I love to see a southern crop growing way, way up north. That's totally cool. And you made the other point about the hardiness zones. You are correct. I think, and I've done, I think, one or two videos on that subject. I think people get so caught up in the hardiness zone. Oh, I'm in zone 9A, 9B, 9, 8A, 4B, 6, whatever. I think the most important thing to remember with hardiness zones, one, know what zone you're in. It just so you know. But two, the longer you live in an area, the more you're going to get incredibly used to what you can and can't grow in your area. And that is all based on your weather patterns, which is what the hardiness zones are actually based off of. But I don't feel people have to be so wrapped up in what zone they're in and then look on the back of seed packets and be like, okay, y'all, just know your area. If you're a beginner gardener, it's very important to have that baseline, which I think is what Rick was really alluding to right there. Have that baseline knowledge of what zone you're in, and then you can build your specific zone knowledge, weather knowledge off of that. So Rick, good points. You got a lot growing up there. What I'm really excited to watch or to see is one of these clips where you're out oyster hunting or clam gathering or that kind of stuff. I'm kind of jealous. We don't have that down here where we are, which because you know this area. But I think that'll be really fun to see. So food for thought. All right, so since we're on the East Coast, let's go straight south. Straight down to southern Florida. D, it's all you.
Hey y'all, it's Dee. I am down in Southwest Florida, Zone 10A. Welcome back to another Coast to Coast. I really look forward to doing this every single month. It's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. So for you South Florida gardeners, it is go time. It is past go time. I've got a couple notes here. Just want to run through really quickly. Not a whole lot. As far as fall gardening goes, continue to sow seeds. We've got a lot of time. This is the start of our gardening season, so we should be continuing to sow seeds so that as plants come to the end of their life, we've always got something ready to go in their place. It's getting a little bit late to start brassicas from seed, and things like collards and kales, turnips, it's okay to continue starting these things from seeds because they typically do fairly well. The collards don't bolt quite as fast, and the kale and turnips grow fast enough that we're not going to run into a whole lot of problems. But you should probably start shifting to transplants for your things like broccoli, cauliflower, and Brussels sprouts. These things take a lot of time, and by the time they're ready to produce, it's going to start getting hot again. With the brassicas, you really want to get them in the ground by the end of October. That way they're established when our cool weather starts coming in, they're ready to start producing, and you can get your harvest actually in before March, April, when the heat comes back and all the bugs come back to destroy it. Perennial plants are waking up from their summer slumber, and with the continued rains, they're all putting on tons of new growth. This is a great time to start taking cuttings and beginning to propagate those things that you want more of. Why go spend more money when you've got perfectly healthy plants in your garden that you can propagate and expand your garden? Now, I say that, but take it with a grain of salt, because some things are patented and you cannot legally propagate them. Get your fall garden planted. Everyone in the colder months is racing to get their fall garden planted so that they can get a harvest before the cold comes in and kills their plants. We're racing the cooler weather so that we can get that thriving plant life going and have wonderful harvests going into the spring. Don't delay. You've already waited long enough, and it's already the end of September. I hope you guys have an awesome time in your gardens this coming month, and I will see you next month. Bye.
He has such a different area that she deals with. I mean, did you hear what she said? For her zone, for her area, basically, if you're in southern Florida, right now is when you should be basically starting this is basically when you should be starting your crops, starting your growing season. Let me put it that way. Where the rest of us, or I venture to say the great majority of the country, are starting to kind of gear down, and our beginning of growing season is usually spring. But for her, in her area, because of the heat and the fact that she can grow through the winter where a lot of other places can't, right now September is the start of their growing season down there. So I think that's just really awesome. And that was another reason I love these videos, is because it shows such a difference of what people are dealing with across the country at the same time. Just really cool. But that was one point that really stood out at me. She is starting her growing season now, where a lot of us are kind of winding down. Not me, I grow year round here, but I'm talking like northern viewers. She definitely made some good points on the transplants this time of year. Even for me here, starting certain things from seed, a little iffy, depending on what it is. So transplants are always a great way. They are going to cost you a little bit more, or you need to already start planning growing your own starts, so to speak, so you can get them in the ground as soon as possible. But she also mentioned cuttings. I love cuttings. I love to save the basil. Like, I have so many plants here that literally this year my goal through the winter is to have transplants going. So as soon as my last expected frost date hits, I can get everything out there and get planted and be just further ahead, especially with my companion planting, which basils and all that are huge for me for companion planting. A lot of great information. And again, I just find it fascinating that they are starting their growing season in September, where a lot of us are. I would venture to say a lot of people watching this video that are in the northern states are probably like, yeah, I'm about done. All right, let's jump over straight back, I guess, north on the East Coast. There's North Carolina. Project Help Desk, y'all, you two crazy cats, take it away.
Hello friends, and welcome back to the Project Help Desk Garden in Zone 8A, North Carolina. Man, that sun is bright. North Carolina very much sits between the heat of the south and the cool of the north. And even though it's in the 90s today, we actually recently had a overnight low all the way down in the 40s. So we're shutting down a lot of things, but we still have some things that are going into the fall season. By some miracle, our free watermelon is still hanging in there and getting close to an actual harvest. Plus, we've even got a few more that have formed on this plant that, well, we don't know if they're going to make it. We discovered that after the first set of flowers came on our lion's ear, that it actually keeps on flowering throughout the entire season, and the hummingbirds have been loving this in addition to our feeder. Our okra is still going strong. We're actually going to be waiting for the pods to completely go to the end and save the seeds. A lot of the pollinator food is actually still going strong. We have a lot of basil flowers as well as our marigolds. We are starting a fall garden this year and seeing if we can overwinter some leeks and some onions. One of our goals for next year is going to be cleaning up the herb end of the garden. The ones that didn't die and actually volunteered to come back this year were the chives, the lemon balm, and our oregano, but they kind of took over, and I need to kind of thin these out and make it more usable down here. We went ahead and harvested our sunchokes. Because sunchokes can't sit out like a sweet potato can, we had to go ahead and bury them back into the dirt, where they should be able to overwinter out here until next season when I decide where I want to plant them. And I was able to put the sunchokes here because we harvested our sweet potatoes and got 33 pounds out of this 4x4 foot section, including one that was 3 pounds. It's kind of slightly cheating because North Carolina since 1971 has been the #1 sweet potato producing state in the nation. One thing you may want to do is visit your local farmers market like we did this weekend and see what all the local farms are planting, because since they rely on that for their living, you know they're only going to plant the stuff that is the easiest to grow in that area. This is the state of North Carolina's farmers market, which is considerably larger.
Yeah. There's a lot of buildings.
In fact, if you ever happen to be coming through North Carolina in the Raleigh area, you may want to consider stopping by. It's actually a fairly decent farmer's market, all local farms, and they've got some decent prices on a lot of different things. And while you're at the farmer's market, you also might run across some tractors. Are you enjoying your biscuit? And you see why I gave in and came here, right? Tractor. Wink, wink, nod, nod. No.
I feel like it's a tractor.
Well played. While our little tomato didn't...
Mine, that's my tomato.
And while the wife's little Granny Cantrell didn't quite hit a pound, we did find a 2-pound Mr. Stripey. And while we were there looking through, we noticed that a lot of our sellers were selling Mr. Stripeys, and they actually were all pretty big. And that's why we're thinking about grabbing this one to save the seeds for next year. Hashtag Tomato Challenge 2026.
Chad's tomato beat Brian in the hashtag Tomato Challenge 2025, but my tomato beat Chad's.
You're not going to let them live this one down, are you?
Yo, it is so hot. I was totally gonna go grab a different shirt, put on, and kind of mess with Project Help Desk there, but I can't. The heat is too much. All right, y'all. As always, those two are great. So let me just hit this right off the bat. I didn't know I was in a competition with Team Wife there. So okay, Jennifer. I guess the gauntlet's laid down, huh? You're coming after me. So next year, now, I got a bullseye on you. Yeah, I have to take you down. I already took Brian down. I got to take you down. No, and all good fun. I think she won by 2 ounces or 0.2 of an ounce or something. I forgot, but she definitely beat me. But yeah, just by about that much. But she still won, so I like that. I like that competition. And y'all, if you have not gotten in on the tomato challenge from this past year, don't worry, we are rerunning that challenge in 2026, and it looks like these two already have the seeds for a monster tomato that grows well in their area. And that brings me to an amazing point that they made. Farmers markets, y'all. Go to your local farmers markets. Even if it's just to go out, shake hands, meet people, not buy anything, but if you can buy something, buy some. That is how they make their money. And they made a great point. Find local produce grown in your area, because then you know that those seeds in that produce are already good for your area. So great point there. Farmers markets. And in fact, in 2026, my goal is, one of my ideas for next year is to hit farmers markets or local mom and pop stores and showcase them and that kind of a thing. So great point there. I loved it. Love farmers markets. You mentioned saving seeds for okra. Yeah, I've got a lot of seeds to save coming up very soon. And that's just these okras. That's not all the other okras that I'm always saving. Just like the okra that I sent Croc Gardener that he's growing this year. Those were saved from my garden here, I think last year or the year before. So good point there. Love the American flag shirt there at the beginning. I was totally going to come out with a whole get up, but all of my American flag 4th of July stuff is actually packed in the attic, and it's about 120 in that attic, so that I'm not going up there. Too hot. But as always, y'all two are just too much. Love it. The watermelons look good. I've got one growing, one last one growing, but y'all's definitely much larger, looking great. And again, Team Tractor. Let's get this man a tractor, y'all. Come on. Okay, let's get off the East Coast. Let's just jump straight over to the West Coast. Jump up there to the Pacific Northwest, up there to Angela, the hippie chick gardener. Take it away.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Hippie Chick Homestead. September's coming to a close pretty soon, which in the Pacific Northwest, I'm in zone 8B, means that our summer gardening season is pretty much winding down. Still got a few tomatoes left to ripen, a few cucumbers left to pick, and some green beans. Other than that, things are pretty much done. I'm getting ready to harvest sweet potatoes here in the next week. I usually do that when the temperatures get in the lower 50s before they drop too much below that. Hoping for a good crop there. And typically what I do with the sweet potatoes is once I harvest them, I amend the bed, and that's where the garlic goes. So that bed stays pretty much in production year-round between the sweet potatoes and the garlic. As far as other fall crops besides garlic, I've got some sugar snap peas, carrots, radishes, and spinach already sown. And then the garlic will go in. I'm also going to try an experiment with onions. I've sown some. I usually sow everything in milk jugs. So I've sown some onions, and I'll get ready to put these in some beds and mulch them heavily. It's an experiment. I've never planted them in the fall for harvest in the spring, so we'll see what happens. Might end up with no onions, but in that case, I can always plant some next spring. So I'm going to try planting intermediate day onions. Typically in the Pacific Northwest, we plant long day onions. But I'm going to try intermediate because we will get less sun and less light over the winter. So hopefully they'll bulb up successfully. Just a shout out, if you've not planted onions before and you're looking for kind of a tutorial on onions, Doug the Crock Gardener just posted a video over on his channel on how to grow giant onions. And it was an excellent video. So shout out to Doug. And I would recommend that anybody who's looking to grow better onions or more successfully grow onions, check out his video because it was a great one. This time of year, I usually start my seed saving. I've done some flowers and now it's time to move to vegetables. So a couple of things I save seeds from are tomatoes, cucumbers, peas, black-eyed peas, and peppers. So I've got those. I have a giant silver slicer cucumber that I just picked, and that will be perfect for saving seeds from that. And then the tomatoes behind me, the variety is Mortgage Lifter, which is an heirloom variety, and that's perfect for seed saving. Then I'll save some peppers, King of the North bell peppers, and some paprika peppers seeds for sowing next year. I'm also getting ready to prune those plants pretty severely and get them dug up and potted for overwintering over the winter. Of course, the best part of the end of the summer gardening season is canning and preserving all of the vegetables that you've grown. So I have canned and preserved more green beans and tomatoes than I thought possible. I've got peppers that I've frozen, and then I've smoked paprikas for paprika powder. So my pantry is looking nice and full. I've got pickles, some jams, all the things that we'll eat over the course of the winter, and every time I open a jar, it will remind me of a great gardening season. So, Chad, thanks for having everybody along. Thanks for visiting the Hippie Chick Homestead, and I hope y'all are having a great garden day where you are. Take care.
All right, another great clip there. Lots and lots of great information for anyone up there in her area. Did y'all hear the list of everything she's growing up there? Which is kind of the list that you could grow across the entire country right now. Turnips, radishes, carrots. Did you see the tomatoes behind her? She still has all those tomatoes, like killing me. And those are her, I believe she said, Mortgage Lifters. I have tried to grow those, I think, for 3 years here and gave up on them. So I'm glad to see that they're growing good for her up there in her area. Her canning game is off the chart. Did y'all see her pantry? Seriously. I think she sent me a message or commented on something that I posted. I can't remember, but she made a funny point where she said that her husband basically says if you stand long enough in her kitchen, you're gonna get canned. So I think that's funny, a really funny way of just explaining how much you can do canning and how you can. I mean, that's the whole point of gardening, right? We're gardening to grow vegetables that we can feed our families. And if you're growing the right amount of vegetables or the right types of vegetables for your area, and that you have the area, the land to grow a lot of something, then you can can so many things and have them throughout the winter. And I think that's amazing. And her pantry is off the charts for sure. And she gave Doug a big shout out, which I think is awesome. His onion video is absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to try to link that video for him down below in the description. If I'm not able to because of YouTube, and all that, go over to his channel. All the YouTubers' links will be down below, but go to his channel and watch his onion video. A great shout out there, Angela, for Doug, and I absolutely second that motion. And to finish out her clip, did y'all hear what she said toward the end? If not, let me replay it.
So my pantry is looking nice and full. I've got pickles, some jams, all the things that we'll eat over the course of the winter, and every time I open a jar, it will remind me of a great gardening season. So,
Okay, y'all, how beautiful is that, right? You open a jar of something that you canned in August, and say you open it in January, and then you think back to when you were canning that jar, when you were growing it, when you harvested that vegetable. Just what a beautiful sentiment, beautiful comment there. Absolutely love that. You knocked that one out of the park, for sure. All right, y'all, if you haven't noticed, I've kind of been staying in one kind of section of my backyard because it is hot. It is hot. Everyone's talking about their, what Project Help Desk say? They got down into the 40s. Rick's saying they've been getting down into the, what do you say, the 50s? And my lows are in the low 80s, high 80s. And right now in the shade, it's over 90. So I'm a little jealous of everyone else's weather because it's hotter than the blazes of you know what here. All right, bow tie life. Let's jump back down to Florida, another part of Florida, the Panhandle over there in Destin, Florida. So bow tie life, take it away, brother.
Hey friend, Bowtie David here with this month's Coast to Coast update for Chad over at Down Home Backyard Gardening. First off, a big thank you to Chad for continuing to include us in this project. It's such a joy to share what's going on in our garden with all of you. We've got 4 exciting things to share today. We have some new recipes, we have experiments going on, we have beautiful blooms, and 2 new trees that are joining the Bowtie Garden family. Let's get right into it. So let's start with cucumbers. You know how it is. One day you've got a basket, next day you've got a fridge full of them, and suddenly you're Googling recipes like a desperate homesteader in a pickle jar factory. We decided to try cucumber chips. First batch, cinnamon sugar. Sweet, crisp, and surprisingly good after a round in the dehydrator. 12 hours drying out, and these chips were a fantastic TV snack. Then Mrs. Bowtie came in with an Asian-style recipe. Not even dehydrated, and that one was a big win too.
So we're going to start with the rice vinegar, the liquid aminos, the sesame oil, and the sugar, and then we're going to taste. Seal it real good and roll it around. And then we refrigerate till we're ready to eat. I'm going to refrigerate it overnight, probably take some for lunch or for dinner tomorrow.
But the vinegar and salt version? Let's just say it was more salt lick than snack. Too salty even for us to get through after 12 hours in the dehydrator. So 2 wins and 1 loss, and a fridge that's breathing easier. Next up, 2 brand new adventures for us this month. Soap and wine. Yes, we're leveling up from vegetables to vanity projects. At Petals from the Past, we learned to make goat's milk soap under the guidance of Laura Spencer from Simply Making It on YouTube. She did a fantastic job teaching our class, clear, fun, and patient, even with all of us asking questions at the same time. We brought the mold home, and 24 hours later we cut our big blocks into bars. They're curing now in a well-aerated space, smelling better than a laundry aisle at Publix. And then there's blackberry wine. We've been learning a ton from Dwayne and Lori over at the Edge of Nowhere farm. They've shared so much about the process of making wine. Ours is now in the final stage before bottling, which should happen in the next month or 2. Will it be fine wine? Or will it be vinegar with ambition? Stick around. Now this is exciting. For the first time ever, both our Brugmansias bloom together. The younger one is a reddish bloom, the older is a sunny bloom, and together they're just glorious. Important note, Brugmansia is poisonous, so we keep them away from the road, the sidewalk, or the driveway, anywhere someone might be tempted to touch or take a bloom.
Class Brugmansia contains alkaloids that can cause hallucinations, confusion, or even paralysis if ingested. In short, admire with your eyes, not your hands.
They're beautiful, but beauty sometimes comes with a warning label. And finally, our newest addition, 2 peach trees we picked up at the Great Fall Garden Festival at Petals from the Past. We brought home a Mid-Pride and a Florida Grande, both low-chill varieties that should thrive here on the Gulf Coast. The Mid-Pride clocks in at about 250 chill hours, and the Florida Grande anywhere between 100 and 350 depending on which expert you ask. Either way, they're well suited for our zone. Right now, they're just little sticks of promise, but one day they'll be dripping with peaches. So there you have it. Cucumbers in 3 ways, soap and wine experiments, angel trumpets in bloom, and a couple of peach trees for the future. That's a full season of variety packed into 1 month. And remember, your garden doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Have a blessed day.
Yeah. Soap and wine. I can honestly say I never once ever thought of making my own soap until I watch this clip. I am so intrigued by that. I'm very intrigued by that. That's really cool. The wine, my stepdad used to have his own little home wine thing that he would make, and I'm not a wine person at all. I've literally never had a wine that I liked, but I like the idea of doing that, making your own wine, to where I've actually thought of maybe trying at some point. So I think it's really cool that you're doing that there. And again, the soap, blowing my mind. Okay, so was anyone else like shocked with the cucumber chips? Again, never once did I think of that, and that is awesome. Really cool way. I'm intrigued for the recipe for the pickles, the Asian recipe for the pickles. So if you want to throw that down in the comments, bow tie, that'd be great. I would definitely like to try that, because I have a girlfriend who is just insanely addicted to pickles. She loves them, and those are different, so I think it's cool. And then the flowers, angel trumpets, huh? They're poisonous. And you said don't touch them with your hand, or Professor Lilly was saying don't touch them with your hands, and then you're sitting there holding them for the camera with your hands. Hope you're okay, for one. Two, that is really cool. Now I want to grow them. Might have to grow those. I mean, you already got me growing all these doggone loofahs everywhere. Might as well add angel trumpets to the lost world over here. All right, y'all, and finally, let's jump up to the middle of the country and talk to Big Will Dog 82 in the soil. See what's going on over there in Indianapolis. Big Will, it's all you.
Hey guys, it's your boy Big Will Dog 82 in the soil. It's the coast to coast. So what's popping off here in Indiana, Zone 6, this time of year right now? Well, I'll tell you, we got tomatoes are still popping off. Those things are still acting like they've got months to go, when really you and I both know they've got maybe a month before they're out. We've got green beans. Green beans are popping off real good right now in both the wicking bed and in my green stock. And I even went ahead and planted those green beans along with some of the strawberries, even though that's all going to be rearranged come spring. Strawberries are doing good right now. I've got so many strawberries either putting off runners for themselves on the outside, and I've also got the strawberries on the inside of the house, and the worm bin is still rocking like it always has. My herbs are still doing okay. The celery's whatever, you know. Now the bad. While I am happy that I was able to grow my watermelons and my cantaloupes and my peppers and everything, they are seriously biting the dust. So we've got everything from powdery mildew to leaf wilt, and they're just dying back. We had a cold snap that hit us for about a week almost, and none of them liked that. So when it went back to hot for a little bit, it just wasn't the same. You always got to take those ebbs and flow of gardening, you know. Just because one thing happens, you can't take that personal. You can't sit there and rest on your laurels. You got to just push forward and keep going. There's so much stuff going on right now. I mean, even my tomatoes, those got dealt with the same temperatures, but they're still going strong right now. But I also know we've got about a month or so before those are, and we're full into fall and getting that fall compost ingredients going. And I think I'm going to try to run that compost bin over the winter. Let's see how good that is. Maybe that's more work, and I pretty much told myself that I was done doing compost and bins for the rest of this year, but we'll see. I know the seasons are changing for some of you guys, and for others of you, you're going to be able to grow throughout into the new year. The last thing that's popping off though this right now, garlic 2026. Yes, you heard. The challenge is back. Challenge 2.0. New name, same challenge with an extra bonus. A brand new category in it. And I think it's going to be the most interesting of all. So why don't you guys go ahead and pop in, check those out. and then join the challenges. So just get in on it. If you're planning on growing garlic, check out those videos. It's not all that hard, and if you got any questions, just come to me or Chad. So I'm gonna kick it right back to you, Chad. All right, Big Wheel Dog 82 in the soil, and I'm out of here.
All right, so Team Airman wants to try to take on Team Marine. I got you, man. I got you. Let's do it. So there will be a fourth category of the hashtag Garlic 2026 challenge, and that is between him and me. Since you want to throw down Team Airman, huh? Okay. This devil dog right here is going to take you up on that challenge. So between you and me, we'll have our own little challenge going. So everyone who thinks Team Marine's going to win, drop Team Marine down in the comments. If you think Team Airman's going to win, drop Team Airman down in the comments. And let's have a little fun and see how this goes. Now, let's get to his backyard and everything he's got going. 1, strawberries look fantastic. I am so jealous. 2, and his tomatoes are looking amazing. I can't grow tomatoes like that. I just haven't been able to do it. I think my temperature is just insanely hot down here, but those look great. The strawberries look great. You did make a really good point. Again, here's someone else who's having these crazy cold spells come on that throw the plants into, craziness. Your melons aren't looking great because of the cold, and that makes sense. So again, y'all, if you're a viewer watching in his area, you can see what's going on with his garden also. He's got great tomatoes, great strawberries, but because of the cold, the melons got hit kind of hard. So just adjust how you're doing things. Follow his channel if you're up in that area, so you can, again, learn what's going on up there. All right, so that is everyone from across the country. Again, like I said at the beginning, Dale and Chuck over in Louisiana aren't on this video, and Brian out in Southern California is not on this video. So we're missing those 2 areas. I will say, from watching Brian's videos, he's got a lot going on out there. His bananas are going great. He's super busy with everything. And then Dell and Chuck, they're basically in my zone. So pretty much what I've got going here is probably what they have going there. I know they have okra growing. He just posted a huge okra tree that's growing. The only okra I have left are these right here. I took the rest out. I did have okra all the way down to there. I took all those out, and now I've got, well, let me just show you. We've got carrots starting here. Cucumbers, 2 different types of cucumbers. Some wax beans, my watermelon. Definitely got a lot growing right now. You can see right there, we've got eggplant, and then I don't know what that fuzzy thing is. Not a clue, y'all. Not a clue. Again, this whole area is what I'm calling the lost world, because there's just craziness growing in there. I grew last week, I harvested a 30-pound giant bullet head wax melon out of this area. Out of this area right here. In fact, it was right up here. I'll show a little bit of that video. This is easily 30 plus pounds. Look, seriously, look. Look how big this thing is. Here we go. Almost 31 pounds. Again, 30-pound wax melon from China. Don't have a clue what I'm going to do with that thing. The one real good thing is they store really well. So while I'm trying to figure out what to do with it, it's storing. It's great. Got tons and tons and tons of loofah. We've also got Cushaw squash right there. At least that's what I'm being told that is. If you look in there, we've got loofahs. That brown one's ready to harvest. Just growing everywhere, y'all. The loofah game is going nuts. Sweet potato leaves, vines are just getting decimated over here. So I did some looking, and what you want to look for when you start seeing holes and everything like that is you see all this brown stuff on the leaves like that. Y'all, that's poop. That's poop from something. So you've got to start looking and seeing what's going on with your plants. What are you being hit with? Because that's not normal. And of course, I'm getting destroyed by these right here. So if you look at this leaf, right, you see how it's bunched up right here? That's not natural. That means something made this bunch up. You can also tell right there that's not natural, and there's poo everywhere. So you sit the camera down. What you want to do is open up that bunch. Can you see it? I'm going to zoom in here. That right there. That is an army worm, a cutworm, some kind of worm, but those are what you're looking for. So, just give it a nice little gentle squeeze. Give it a little love. Call it a day. Got another one right here, which I guarantee there is another one in there, or there was. So that is what you're looking for when you start seeing stuff like this. And this is something no one mentioned in the video. I'm kind of surprised because it's fall. Fall doesn't usually have a lot of pest pressure like spring does, but for me, if you're in zone 9B, 9A, 10A, anywhere around this area, y'all be looking for pests. They're not going to be as strong as in spring, but they are going to be out like you're seeing right here. I am definitely dealing with a lot of pest pressure, and all the pest pressure right now are those worms right there. I have found them throughout the entire garden on specific plants. So be on the lookout. Now over here, we've got peas planted, different type of peas, more beans. These are green beans, so this whole area right here will be green beans. I have made a decision on the tomatoes. Let me walk around to the other side so I can show them a little easier. Okay, y'all. The tomatoes are not even putting on flowers right now. Even though they all look good up top, they look just terrible everywhere else. And they're not putting on flowers. Now, I don't really care about how they look. It's whether or not the plant is producing fruit. Right now, my tomatoes aren't even putting on flowers, and they're taking up this entire area. So, they're all coming out, and I'll be planting more fall beans and peas, not turnips, I don't do turnips, radishes, spinach, lettuce, those kind of things. I'm staying away from brassicas except for cabbages. Now, why am I personally staying away from brassicas? Because I have trouble growing them. It just always seems like a big waste of my time growing brassicas because they don't do anything for me. Other people in this area grow them just great. I'm jealous of them, but I just can't, so I'm just not going to waste my time on them. But I have kind of cracked the cheat code on cabbages. So these are the 5 that I started from seed a month ago that I'm now hardening off out here. In about another month, I'm going to get them planted, and in fact I started a whole nother set of cabbage starts inside. So then I will have succession planting of cabbages down the road. So you can see a little bit what's going on here. I do have peppers that are still growing. I think Rick mentioned his Tabascos have yet to come on, and y'all, I am about a week, 2 weeks behind harvesting all of this. Look at all those Tabascos, y'all. Look at just how beautiful that is. All these right here, these cayenne peppers are doing fantastic. I need to get out here to harvest. My Vigo retractable hose is still doing great on this fence. If y'all have not got one of these, I'm telling you, check out the links down below. Get one. Maybe get one for your gardener for Christmas, for next year, but I'm telling you, that thing is a game changer for me. I love it. Seriously, that thing is great. And I just saw this. Check this out. Look at the size of that eggplant right there. Another one there. Another one right up there. All right, so I'm gonna be harvesting eggplants very soon. Oh, this is a good way to show. Look at all these loofahs that are ready. 1, 2, 3. I got 3 loofahs right there ready to harvest, along with the 15 that I have in the house already that I need to harvest, take care of, process, basically clean, save the seeds, and go from there. Before we finish this video, I did want to mention the green stock. I finally got one, as you can see, and I finally joined the green stock family. So if you have one of these, be sure you're using them and you're planting fall crops in them. Right now I have spinach at the top, and I have 3 different types, or 4 different types of radishes growing right here, along with some chives, some pineapple sage. And the bottom 2 tiers, there's some thyme right there. The bottom 2 tiers I'm going to use for garlic as part of the hashtag Garlic 2026 challenge that we have going. There is a category in the challenge for specifically vertical growers like green stocks, and I'm using the bottom 2 tiers for my garlic. Now I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to get garlic from the store, and I'm going to try growing store-bought garlic. You always hear all this information about store-bought crops. Veggies have chemicals and growth inhibitors and all that on there, so I want to try growing store-bought garlic, along with, I got these seeds, garlic bulbs from Haas. Those are the kind that I will be growing that are not store-bought right here. First time I've ever bought anything from Haas, so I'm excited to see how they go, how they grow, how they go and grow, how they grow, and go from there. But green stock is definitely being used. All right, that's pretty much everything for me here in Zone 9B, Spring, Texas. Now, what am I going to be doing here in the next month? More fall planting, more fall gardening, more transitioning from the summer crops into fall crops. I'm venturing to guess that the majority of everything you see here won't be here next month at the October Coast to Coast. The sweet potatoes definitely won't be. Those entire sweet potato bed will not be there. Those will be harvested. It's about that time to get all of those harvested. Yeah, so that is what I'm going to be focusing on. Also, remember, always be looking for pests. Trust me, they're out there, and they are annoying. That is for sure. All right, y'all, I figure I'll end this video inside the Lost World here, if I can get in here without breaking, stomping on anything. All right, I made it. Okay, so we are inside the Lost World. It's crazy in here, and it's about 10 degrees cooler also, honestly. Very, very cool in here. This is one of those Cushal squashes. I'm actually about to harvest this. I'm gonna do a harvest and taste on this because, y'all, I did not plant the seeds for that. I did not grow that. Or I grew it, but I didn't mean to grow it. And we're gonna get that thing checked out. So to end the video in here is kind of fun. Oh, I found another loofah right there. For everyone watching this video, go down, check out all the channels. Information is down below. Go over, support all these great, amazing people, these fantastic gardeners. And if they're in your area where you just feel akin to following their channel or all the channels, please do so. Show support to everybody. and happy gardening to everyone out there, especially fall gardening. And if this is your first fall gardening season, have fun with it and just learn. Be a sponge and absorb everything. And just make sure you're learning from it. That's the fun part about all this. So on that note, everyone, y'all take care. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. Go down, support all these channels, subscribe to all the channels, and y'all, we will talk to you all again in a month at our 1-year anniversary of the Coast to Coast video series. Happy fall gardening.